introduction video for trigonometry, basic version. So I'm looking here at the Wikipedia page for trigonometry, and it says trigonometry is a branch of mathematics that studies relationships involving lengths and angles of triangles. Now it doesn't mention that these triangles must be right-angled triangles. Okay, now what are the uses of trigonometry? Well, here's an example of how trigonometry could be used in the real world. Let's say we're standing here and we know that we are a certain distance away from a tower. And we also have something called an inclinometer that can measure the angle from the ground to our line of sight to the top of the tower. Now if we have all that information, using trigonometry, because this is a right-angled triangle, we can actually figure out the height of this tower, which is good because that enables us to know the height without having to actually physically measure this height, climbing up with some measuring tape or something. We can actually figure the height out just using the information of distance away from the tower that we stand and angle from the ground to our line of sight. Now, trigonometry is used in more realistic ways in everyday life by plumbers, carpenters, people in construction, and engineers use it all the time. Okay, let's have a look at what a right-angled triangle actually is and how to use trigonometry in those right-angled triangles. So let's draw a triangle, a right-angled triangle. Now this is a right-angled triangle because two of the lines intersect at a right angle. These two lines have a 90-degree angle between them, which is known as a right angle. Now let's pretend that we know that we have an angle here, theta, some angle between these two lines in this vertex we call it, and that we know this angle here, theta. Now let's label the sides of the triangle. Now in a right-angled triangle, the long side is the hypotenuse. Let's call it H for hypotenuse. The side that is opposite to the angle is called the opposite side, or O. And the other side that's next to the angle but not the hypotenuse is the adjacent side. Okay, so there are our three sides that we label the triangle. Now, I'm going to introduce you to three different words that you might not have heard of: sine, cosine, and tangent, or tan. So sine is an operation that we do on the angle, and that operation tells us the ratio of the opposite side over the hypotenuse side, the length of the opposite side over the length of the hypotenuse. That ratio, it's a ratio because it's O divided by H, is the sine of the angle. So you just have to trust me with that. You'll figure out a bit more what that means as we go along. Now cos of theta gives us a different ratio. Cosine, which I just shortened to cos, tells us about the adjacent side over the hypotenuse, that ratio. And tangent, or tan, tells us about a third ratio. And that ratio is the opposite side over the adjacent side. These are our three formula for trigonometry. So, if you know these three formula, you can work out the side lengths or the angle if you're given enough information within these triangles. That concludes the introduction video for trigonometry basic version. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you soon.